The grand hall of the Galactic Council floated in the center of the Orion sector. Inside, thousands of species from across the galaxy had gathered. Creatures with wings, scales, light bodies, and floating minds sat in rows, each representing a powerful world. The hall was filled with noise whispers, jokes, and laughter. But all of them had one thing in common. They were laughing about humans. "Earthlings won't come," said a Zarnian, his 3 eyes blinking slowly. "They're still crying over their last defeat. They're too emotional," added a tall, jelly-like being. "They don't belong among higher species." Even the council leader, a creature known as Sarlix the Wise, gave a small smile. "Let the record show," he said in his deep, echoing voice. "The human seat remains empty, as always." The camera drones floated around the table, showing the council's unity to the galaxy. But there it was, one chair left untouched, the human chair. The Earth emblem faded and cracked from years of dust. Everyone had a reason to mock humans. Years ago, Earth tried to join the council. They offered science, art, and peace. But the council rejected them. Too wild, too violent, too new. And when humans walked away in silence, no one cared except one alien Vaylor. Vaylor was young, from a peaceful race called the Zalari. He didn't laugh. He watched. For years, he had read ancient human books and listened to their music in secret. He always felt something different about them, something that didn't match the stories others told. Now, as the meeting continued, Vaylor's eyes remained fixed on the empty seat. Suddenly, the lights in the hall flickered. The screens behind the council table glitched. Static covered the council's symbol. The room went silent. "What's happening?" someone whispered. Then the screen changed. A black symbol appeared. It looked like an eagle, wings stretched across stars. Old members of the council gasped. "That's human military code," one of them said. Before anyone could react, a voice came through the speakers. Cold, deep, and unmistakably human. "This message is for the council. You chose to forget. We did not. We remember every insult, every lie, every betrayal. We asked for peace. You gave us silence. We asked for unity. You laughed. Now the time of waiting is over. We are coming." The signal ended. The lights returned. But the room had changed. The same leaders who were laughing moments ago were now frozen in fear. Some looked at the empty seat like it was a ghost. "Is this real?" Sarlix asked, trying to hide the shake in his voice. "Could be an old recording," someone offered. But Vaylor knew better. He had heard real human voices before. This one was recent, alive, active, and there was something in the tone. Calm. Not angry, but behind it, there was a storm. A warning, not a threat. The council quickly tried to cover it up. "It's nothing," Sarlix said. "Maybe a joke, a leftover signal. We will investigate." But the fear didn't go away. In the hallways, ambassadors talked in hushed voices. Some even contacted their home planets. They didn't say it out loud, but all of them were thinking the same thing. What if the humans are really coming back? That night, Vaylor sat in his private quarters, watching the message again. He paused on the last frame, the Earth symbol burning. Behind the words, "We are coming," he whispered to himself. Why now? Why send a warning after all these years? Then his datapad beeped. A secure message appeared. No sender, no location. Only one line. You watched. You listened. Remember. That Vaylor's heart raced. He looked around, but there was no one. For the first time in years, the galaxy felt cold again. The council had mocked humanity for too long. And now, something was coming. Something they could no longer ignore. Asterisk in the dark corners of space. Near the edge of council territory, patrol ships moved like insects across stars. These were advanced warships, armed with the best weapons of the galaxy. Their job was simple: guard the outer borders. But something had changed. In Sector 9B. The ship Zarnok Blade sent a final message. Unidentified contact detected. Silent. No response. Scanners failing. Wait, it's moving fast. Weird. Then silence. 3 hours later, the Trasari Vane, a ship sent to investigate, disappeared. No explosions. No distress signal. No wreckage. The Council called it space interference. They always had an excuse. But whispers began to spread among soldiers, traders, and miners. Whispers of a black ship. A ghost in the stars. Silent. Deadly. Human. Back. In the Central Council Station, Vaylor stood in front of a large digital map. Red marks appeared near the border missing ships. Broken signals? Strange static. He had seen this pattern before. He tapped the screen and zoomed in. Each red mark formed a curve, a perfect half circle slowly wrapping around the outer systems. This isn't random, he whispered. Behind him, a voice spoke. You see it too? Vaylor turned. It was Ambassador Ciarn, an old Solari with crystal-like skin. She wasn't like the others. She didn't laugh when humans were mentioned. Her species had once fought Earth in a small border war. They lost badly. Ciarn stared at the map. We told them, years ago, that humans don't forget, that their silence is not peace, it's preparation. Vaylor nodded. They think the humans are wild, but what if they're patient? Ciarn smiled bitterly. Then the Council is already too late. On the other side of space, a lone transport. Ship named Orin's Flame moved through a quiet trade route. Captain Lesso, a rough ex-mercenary, leaned back in his seat. Boring trip. Just cargo. Suddenly, lights flickered. The screens turned to static. The ship shook. Status report. He shouted. The pilot screamed. Something's outside. Big no signal, no ID. Lesso rushed to the window, and there it was. A ship. Black as space. Silent. No lights. No sound. Shaped like a blade human, but wrong. Too smooth. Too fast. Then it vanished. No weapon fired. No attack. Just a voice on every system of the ship. Calm, robotic, human. Your ship is not a target. This is a warning. Exit Council territory. Do not return. This space is under observation. Earth remembers. And just like that, everything turned back to normal. Systems returned. Stars blinked. The black ship was gone. Captain Lesso reported the event immediately. He expected the Council to panic, but they didn't. They erased his report. They silenced him. He quit the next day and went into hiding. That's when the galaxy knew. Something terrible was coming. Vaylor watched the growing fear in the Council's eyes. More reports were hidden. More lies were spoken. But nothing could stop the truth from spreading. A leaked image hit the underground network's grainy, but clear enough. A shadow of a massive ship near the moons of Trestle. A symbol was spotted on its side. A burning Earth wrapped in iron wings. An old human special forces mark. One used only in Black Ops missions. That symbol was retired 70 years ago. Vaylor said to himself. Ciarn looked at the image and whispered, or maybe brought back. In response, the Council sent warships to the Outer Rim. 10 destroyers. Top-class defense. Stronger than any human ship. Or so they thought. 2 days later, the ships stopped responding. One ship returned drifting in space, systems dead, no crew on board. Words were carved into the inner wall of the command deck. You watched us fall, now watch us rise. The Council could no longer hide the truth. Fear spread across the core worlds. Some began evacuating border colonies. Trade slowed. Pirates ran away from human space. No one dared get close. And yet, Earth said nothing. No official broadcast. No threat. No declaration of war. Only silence. And ships in the shadows. Vaylor sat in his dark room, reading old human history. Wars. Peace offers. Betrayals. Silence. Suddenly his screen blinked out another message. You were warned. The outer edge was only the beginning. Now we move forward. Message included coordinates. Vaylor checked. His eyes widened. It pointed to the Galactic Council's inner defense grid. Asterisk. In the archives of Zelari Prime, hidden beneath layers of old encryption, Vaylor found what the Council never wanted anyone to see. He had followed the secret coordinates from the last message. They led him not to a weapon, not to a ship, but to a file, one marked Project Silence. It was locked, old, and stamped with the Earth symbol. And something else, the Council's highest secrecy seal. With shaking hands, Vaylor cracked it open. What he found changed everything. 80 years ago, Earth had reached out to the Galactic Council with an offer. Not weapons. Not trade. But unity. Shared everything cure for the Red Plague, star mapping technology, and even advanced AI theory. In return, Earth asked for one thing. A seat in the Council. But the Council feared them. Humans were too unpredictable. Too emotional. Too creative. Too fast to evolve. So they made a choice. A silent one. In secret. The Council sent an AI virus called Whisper into Earth's mainframe. It shut down communication satellites, turned colonies against each other, and collapsed Earth's trade. Roots. Then, without warning, Council ships bombed Earth's outer defense posts. No declaration. No trial. No witness. Only a lie recorded in history. Earth collapsed on its own. Back in the present, Vaylor couldn't believe what he was reading. The Council had committed a quiet genocide, and no one had spoken of it. Until now. We remember. Vaylor whispered the words, repeating the human message in silence. He understood now. The black ships. The silence. The warnings. Humans had vanished from the stars, not because they were weak, but because they were betrayed. Across the galaxy. Strange events increased. On planet Corinth, a massive weapons factory exploded. No alarms, no signs of entry, just fire and a message left behind. For what you erased. On the moon of Dalari, a Council warbase shut down. All systems locked by an unknown AI that spoke only in Earth's long-dead language. Even the AI, translators, couldn't break it. But one old scientist did. He translated a single phrase. We learned from you. Now, we're better. In the Galactic Council chamber, panic had finally reached the throne. Council leader Sarlix shouted across the hall. Who activated Project Silence? Who gave the order? No one answered, because none of them remembered, or pretended not to. They can't be this strong, one ambassador whispered. They were broken. No, said Ciaran, who stood beside. Vaylor now. They were rebuilding, for decades, in silence. In the dark. She paused, and now they are coming back, stronger, smarter, unforgiving. That night, Vaylor received another message. This time, it included a video. He opened it. A recording played. A small, underground human lab. Engineers in black uniforms. Screens filled with Council ship schematics. Weapons reverse engineered. Human children training in silence. At the end of the video, a human commander appeared. Gray beard. Cold eyes. He looked straight into the camera and spoke. They took our voice, so we built a new one. Steel speaks louder than words. This isn't revenge. It's justice. As the screen went dark, Vaylor felt something inside him shift. Council was not innocent. The humans were not monsters. They were survivors. And now, they were not coming back for diplomacy. They were coming back with truth and fire. On the far side of space, dozens of human stealth fleets moved silently. Their captains watched Council systems fall apart without firing a single shot. Hackers shut down supply lines. Satellites were blinded. AI. Networks were hijacked. And not a single civilian was harmed. Because Earth wasn't at war with the galaxy. Earth was at war with the Council. On a quiet asteroid base, a young human soldier stood in front of a large wall. Carved into it were the names of every human killed during Project Silence. No one spoke. Only a signal was sent to Earth's main command. Green light blinked. The Council's name was next on the list. Asterisk. The stars looked peaceful. But behind that peace, something massive was unfolding. Operation Black Dawn. It began with no warning. No grand speech. No war horns. Just a sudden, perfect silence across the Council's defense grid. In the secure war room of the Council HQ, alarms flashed red. Systems crashed one by one. Ships lost contact. Entire colonies went offline. Council leader Sarlacc stood, frozen as a technician shouted, "We've lost eyes on the outer sectors." "How?" Sarlacc yelled. "Who's attacking us?" But no enemy ships appeared on radar. No explosions. No invasions. Just disappearances. Far away, hidden inside a shadowed moon. Earth's Fleet Command monitored everything. General Kale, the man seen in the secret video Vaylor had watched, stared at a large holomap. Red dots marked Council facilities. One by one, they flickered and turned gray. "Targets neutralized," his officer said. "No casualties. Data siphoned." I turned. Kale nodded. "Proceed to Phase 3. Bring in the Spectres." The Spectres were not just soldiers. They were Earth's most elite infiltration unit, silent, cloaked, unstoppable. Dressed in suits that bent light and sound, they moved like ghosts through Council territories. Inside command centers, they placed virus chips. In data vaults, they stole secrets. At military labs, they erased research built on stolen human technology. One Spectre left a simple message on a Council flagship's control screen. "You built power on our pain. We're here to collect the cost." On the core planet of Trassel, where most of the Council's elite lived, power grids suddenly failed. Sky traffic stopped. Artificial gravity stuttered. Panic spread fast. Citizens ran. Leaders hid. Then the sky turned black. A massive shape hovered above the city. A human dreadnought, the REVE. An INT. No one had seen a ship like this before. 10 times larger than any Council destroyer. Silent, covered in dark armor. Glowing faint blue underneath, like it was alive. Yet it didn't fire. It simply sat there. Watching. Inside the Council chamber, chaos took over. "They're not even attacking us." Someone screamed. "They're controlling everything. Why aren't we fighting back?" But every system they tried to use had already been taken. Their war areas locked. Defense turrets disabled. Escape pods jammed. Fleet Command offline. Earth hadn't come to fight a war. They had come to shut it down. Back on Earth's moonbase, Vaylor stood beside General Kale. Yes, he had left the Council. Secretly, silently, because he had chosen to stand with truth. "You're not like them," Kale had told him. "You listened, so you get to see how we end this." Now, Vaylor watched in silence as one last order was given. Activate Project Echo. A signal pulsed through space. Thousands of hidden human satellites came online. Projectors lit up above every major Council city. A single image was broadcast galaxy-wide. The truth. Video clips played across skies and holoscreens. Council ships bombing human colonies. AI viruses planted in Earth systems. Children buried in the rubble of peace centers. Council leaders laughing in secret meetings, and finally, the Earth silence. The rebuilding. The message. We asked for peace. You gave us fire. Now we give you silence and truth. The galaxy may not need war, but it needs justice. Revolts broke. Out across Council territories. Species that once followed blindly now turned. You lied to us. You used us. You hid the truth. On 15 planets, statues of Council leaders were torn down. And on one quiet world, a small group of aliens raised an Earth flag, not in fear, but in respect. Sarlacc, once proud leader of the Council, now sat alone in the dark. His screens were blank. His orders ignored. His empire falling. Then a message appeared. A live call. From General Kale. Sarlacc hesitated, then answered. Kale's face appeared, calm, cold. It's over, Sarlacc said. What do you want now? To kill us? Kale shook his head. We want you to feel what we felt, he replied. Powerless. Forgotten. Erased. Kale leaned forward. And now you will. The message ended. As dawn rose on the core worlds, no sound of weapons was heard. No cities burned. No ships exploded. But the Council had fallen. Without a single human. Armies stepping foot on their worlds. Without a single planet. Taken. Because Earth had already taken what mattered. Their control. Their lies. Their legacy. Asterisk. The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council was no longer bright. Once filled with light, laughter, and pride, it now sat in cold silence. The walls, once glowing with symbols of power, flickered weakly. Dust settled on the golden floor. The air carried. Tension thick and heavy. Only a few Council leaders remained. The others had vanished. Some had fled. Others had gone into hiding. Many were arrested by their own people. Now, the ones left behind waited. For Earth. From the sky above, a shadow moved across the Council's capital. The human dreadnought Revenant floated like a dark god, silent and still. No weapons fired. Number. Soldiers landed, yet it was the loudest threat the galaxy had ever seen. And then, at exactly the first hour of dawn, the old hall's main door opened. 5 human figures stepped in. No army. No armor. No weapons drawn. Only silence. At their center was General Kale, followed by Earth's lead historian, a diplomat, and 2 unarmed security officers. The Council leaders stood. Sarlacc, pale and weakened, raised his voice. You've made your point, human. Is this your justice? Kale didn't smile. He simply walked forward and placed a small silver cube on the Council's central table. With a soft hum, the cube came to life. A light projected upward images, sounds, recordings. It was all there. The betrayal. The lies, the vote, the virus. The genocide. Each leader's voice. Each order. Each excuse. One by one. Undeniable. The room was silent as the recordings played. Some Council members lowered their heads. Others turned away in shame. One tried to walk. But Earth's diplomat gently blocked the door. No more silence, she said softly. When the final recording ended, Kale looked at them all. This is not a war tribunal, he said. This is your mirror. Sarlacc clenched his fists. You think you're better than us? Kale's voice remained calm. No, we just remember what you tried to forget. Suddenly, one young Council leader stepped forward, Ambassador Ree from the aquatic planet Telesia. Her voice shook. What do you want from us? Kale looked at her, then around the room. Not land, not power, not slaves. That's your way, not ours. He paused. We want truth made public. We want every record corrected. We want your people to know who their leaders really were. And then, we want you to step down. Gasps echoed through the chamber. You want us to surrender? Sarlacc snapped. Kale stepped closer. You already did. The moment you stopped controlling your own systems. the moment your fleets disappeared, the moment your lies were exposed. At that moment, dozens of holoscreens around the chamber lit up. Leaders from other species, civilian voices, former allies, they were all watching. One by one, they spoke up. We support Earth's demand. We withdraw from the Council. You do not speak for us anymore. Sarlacc looked around the room and saw the end of everything he once ruled. His voice cracked. So, what now? Earth becomes our master? Kale shook his head. No, we're not here to replace you. We're here to end you. The Council, as it was, is finished. Valor stepped forward then, standing beside the humans. Yes, he said, and something better must rise in its place. For a moment, there was silence. Then Kale turned to leave. The other humans followed. Just before exiting, Kale stopped. He looked back at Sarlacc one last time. You mocked us, he said. For our fire, our feelings, our flaws. He pointed to the cube still glowing on the table. But in the end, it was your coldness that destroyed you. As the humans walked out, the hall behind them felt smaller, weaker. Forgotten. Can far above, in space. Every council flag slowly began to fall from its poles, replaced by nothing. No empire. No new conqueror. Just silence. On Earth, the streets, filled with people watching the transmission. But there were no celebrations, no fireworks, no cheers. Only quiet, and the feeling that a long, painful wound had finally been seen. Meanwhile, in a dark room on a distant moon, young recruits trained. Under the Earth Defense Fleet, not for war, but for protection. For peace, one trainee asked the commander, "Did we win?" The commander thought for a moment. "No," he replied. "We endured." The galaxy had changed. The Galactic Council was no more. Its halls stood empty. Its flags were gone. No more orders. No more lies. No more silence. For the first time in 100 years, the stars felt free. But freedom came with a question. Now what? Earth did not celebrate with parades or show power in the skies. Instead, humanity sent out a message short, simple, and honest. We do not seek to rule. We seek to rebuild. Together. It played on every planet, in every language. Not through force, but through choice. And people listened. On dozens of worlds, old council documents were burned. Statues were torn down. History books were rewritten with the truth. The children of species once loyal to the Council asked new questions. Why had they followed those who built power on pain? Why were the humans erased from their lessons? Now they wanted to know Earth's real story. And Earth was ready to tell it. In the center of neutral space, aboard a vast, newly built station named Unity's Heart, the first gathering of the Interstellar Assembly was held. It was not a council, not a government, but a circle. There was no throne, no head seat. Every species sat equally, including Earth. And at the center of the circle was not a leader, but a flame. A simple blue fire, glowing within a transparent orb, representing knowledge, truth, and memory. General Kale did not attend. His role was over. Instead, Earth sent Ambassador Myra, a historian and diplomat who had survived the fall of Earth's colonies during the betrayal. She stood in front of the assembly. Her voice calm, strong. "We are not here to replace what fell," she said. "We are here to build what never was." She then called up the first document of the assembly, a shared code written by all species who wished to join. It had only 5 rules. No species shall be silenced. No technology shall be weaponized for genocide. Truth must be protected, even when uncomfortable. Memory must be shared, not buried. Peace must never cost justice. Each line was met with quiet nods. Even the former enemies of Earth signed it. Meanwhile, back on Earth, humanity continued to rebuild not buildings, But Bridges.alien children studied human languages in new schools. Refugees from broken council worlds were given homes. Humans didn't ask for loyalty. They offered understanding. One child from the Ruari species asked her teacher, "Why didn't you destroy the council planets when you had the power?" The teacher smiled gently. "Because if we did, we'd become like them." On a distant world, Valor stood under a quiet sky. He had returned to his people, the Zalari. But he was no longer just a diplomat. He was now a witness to the rise, fall, and rebirth of the galaxy. He looked up at the stars and remembered everything. The empty human chair at the council, the secret message, the ghost ships, the silent strength, the endurance of a species no one believed in. Now, they didn't need to be feared. They were trusted. A ceremony was held 1 year after the council's fall. It wasn't loud. It wasn't grand. One person from each world stood beneath the stars. Each held a piece of stone from a place they had lost: cities, homes, history. They placed the stones together, creating a monument with no name, only an inscription carved in the center. We mocked them, we buried them, but they rose. Not to rule us, but to remind us of what we almost forgot. Humanity did not conquer the stars. They humbled them. They did not burn the empire. They exposed it. And when given the chance to sit on top of the ashes, they built a table instead with room for all. In a quiet room aboard Unity's heart, a new student sat reading old stories about the time Earth vanished and how it returned with silence louder than war. He asked his mentor, "Why do humans lead now?" The mentor smiled. "Because they never wanted to asterisk."